Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Welcome to another night of Penguin Live TV, streaming to you down from Phillip Island. Now, as per usual, the Penguins have hit the edge of the waters a little bit before I was ready for them, but that's okay. So we are here from Bunurong, which is the word given to Phillip Island. I'm really messing up my words already, T. Oh, spoilers. Okay, how about we introduce Ranger T, my favourite, don't tell the others. She's going to tell us what she's doing tonight while I get my brain working.
Hello everybody, welcome again to another fabulous episode of Penguin Live TV. Yes, Viv and I are going to be bringing you this wonderful presentation tonight, seeing our gorgeous little friends coming out of the water. I'll be checking Facebook and YouTube for any really difficult questions because I so want to stump Viv tonight.
That won't be hard.
Have a think about numbers that came out last night. We'll give you a couple of minutes. And yeah, have fun everybody.
Alright, so what I was trying to say is we are here on Malau, which is the name given to Phillip Island by the Bunurong people. And the Bunurong people are the traditional owners of Phillip Island and a lot of this part of Victoria that we are in today. And they had lived here for thousands and thousands of years before Europeans arrived and took just absolutely beautiful care of the land that we are on today and that we are able to view the penguins. So I would like to pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, as well as any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people watching with us here tonight as well. Now, we have got a group starting and a few staying back. It's still not super dark. I'll give you a hint, not as yesterday's numbers, but they came at 8:07 yesterday. So I was prepared for them to come a bit later because it's not too cloudy, but they like to... I swear these penguins are little mind readers and they're like, you know what, Viv thinks they'll come in at this time. There's no way we're going to do that. And this camera does not want us to get a close look at them. We're on a bit of a, not a high tide, not a low tide, but it's much easier to get a close look at them when we're on a higher tide because they're a lot closer to the camera. So pop in your guesses for this group of penguins and hopefully Kerry and Paul will let us know how many we've got and we'll be able to let you know if you're a good penguin counter or if you still need some practice. I would also like to thank you all again for joining us, as always, here on our Penguin Live TV. We wouldn't be able to keep running it if you guys didn't watch with us every night, and honestly, we love doing it. At the moment, we're still only able to have Regional Victoria visit us in person on the Friday, Saturday, Sundays. But hopefully it won't be too much longer until we can have all of Victoria, then all of Australia, and then the whole wide world back viewing our gorgeous little penguins with us. So, but thank you for playing along at home anyway. If you want to help support us but are unable to come in anytime soon, you can always leave a donation through the link in the description, or adopt a penguin or a bandicoot or a seal or a koala. I think we've got a whole list of them going on there. But otherwise, sit back and enjoy our gorgeous little penguins. So they're going nice and slowly over these rocks because it provides them with a lot of lovely camouflage to keep them nice and safe. So crossing the beach at night is the absolute scariest part of their day. Being such a small penguin, the world's smallest penguin, they're 30 centimeters tall, or 33 if you want to be real funny about it. They are easily taken by predators. So they are waiting for it to get dark, because that's when these predators, mostly birds of prey, go to bed for the night. So they know it's safe, just in case. They've gone through their safety in numbers, because, you know, what silly predator is going to take up this big group of penguins when they can go get something else anyway? And here they go with their little sprint. They're almost there, so they're going to do their little sprint to the finish line, because once they hit all this greenery and grass, they're finally safe. And they're finally able to have a little bit of a rest. So in a minute, we'll have them pop over on this other side. Let's go out. And I might let T give us the answer to last night's penguins.
So last night we had 1318, so 1318 penguins turn up for their little party.
Lovely.
And we're getting a few really good guesses on that first group. So our wonderful penguin counter, Kerry, has announced to start at 7:59. And we are getting quite a few guesses on that first group. Will I let everybody know?
Yeah, let them know. How was it?
It was 87.
87, lovely. I don't know if we've had much of the swamp hen action while we've been on the stream. Usually they're away by now, but this is a purple swamp hen, and they're kind of my arch nemesis at the moment. I am doing my honours at uni, and I was comparing just some populations of swamp hens on Phillip Island and off Phillip Island, and I cannot even begin to tell you how hard it has been to find these birds off Phillip Island. So every time I see them, I'm a little bit cranky, going, why are you here, but you're not where I want you to be? And they have spooked the penguins.
Oopsie.
The swamp hens, they're not going to hurt a penguin, absolutely not. But they're a bird. They're bigger than the penguin. They've got these big wings, and they're scary looking. Let's be honest. Anything that's got wings and flaps around is scary looking for a penguin. These guys, they're kind of like native chickens. They eat lots of grassy bits and I believe insects and stuff as well, mostly. But they're just doing their own thing. I'm sure they'll head off very soon. You may also, if you live in New Zealand, know them better as the pukeko, which I think is a way cooler name than purple swamp hen, but, you know, who am I to judge? I didn't do it. Look at these penguins. They're like, yeah, we'll go around, but what they don't realise is the swamp hens are in the whole pond. That's not very helpful, is it? No, it's not. So what they're going to do is they're going to go under, because going under is... Look at this one. So I haven't been here in a week, and last time I was here we were having like 600, 700. How long have we had these higher numbers for, T? Do you know?
Only in the last few days.
So I have had the absolute pleasure to spend a bit of time working with Paula in research, and she said what I had guessed is that it looked like a lot of areas of the penguins had synchronized their breeding, which is why we had a lot of eggs appear all at once, and a lot of penguins then disappeared to start foraging after they laid their eggs, which led to the lower numbers. So hopefully with the bigger numbers coming up means we're due for a match hatching event. I don't know, guess we'll have to wait and see. That would be really, really exciting.
We have heard a few cheeps down on...
You've been hearing cheeps.
I've been hearing cheeps.
That's so exciting. At the moment, I don't get to spend too much time outside with the penguins at night. I get to spend a little bit of time with them during the daytime, which is great. But they tend to be more vocal at night, which is lovely. So Oh, are these penguins
Speaking
getting
of
it on?
being loud at night, Jason wants to know, how loud is a penguin call?
I don't even know how to begin to answer that, Jason. How loud is a penguin call? Considering, all right, if you think about it like this, in the peak of summer, we could have a couple of thousand penguins around us, and they're all yelling and screaming at each other. How do you know how loud one is when there's at least 20 of them in your immediate vicinity? I'm just going to go really loud. If you went camping here, not that you can, but if you were camping right here, you wouldn't get much sleep. Let's just put it that way. All right, T, you've stumped me already. You happy? You proud of yourself?
Yep.
All right.
Mission successful.
Yeah, it's not difficult. It's really not. Look at them. Come on, guys. It is literally just a swamp pen. It's harmless. They just look like dinosaurs. Go around. Okay. Well, I mean, 2 out of 4 of the swamp hens have left. They did it very dramatically and spooked the penguins again. So we're just going to be here watching these guys for a while. I'm like, yep, let's get to the highway. Let's get a close look. No, that's just not going to happen anytime soon. Let's have a look and see if we have any more rafts coming in. Now, since we've talked about penguin noises, I'm going to have to, of course, tell you, we do have rafts. Tell you about our penguins communicating in the water. And I know most of you all know, but if anyone's new tonight and has seen the comments, the word huck, I've obviously got to demonstrate a penguin noise for you. So when they're in the water, they're forming these groups, these rafts, and you can see the 2 of them right here, and they'll probably join into one bigger one. They're called a raft because they float together in the water as they form their groups, so they can come in through the safety numbers I was talking about earlier. Now, to form these groups, they need to chat to each other. So they huck, and they huck, and they huck, and they huck, going, hey guys, come with me, let's cross the beach together. I don't want to go by myself. And they go, yeah, there we go. They do lots of hucking, and they're very noisy. And when we're lucky, we can hear that huck all the way from where we're seating. And as they get closer, you can go, a group will be here any minute, because you hear them huck, and then next minute you see this line of white penguin bellies right on the edge of the water like we've got here, and it is just beautiful. And we've got birds flying. That's probably just the lapwings, but you did spook my penguins, of course. We're going to be a long night here waiting for penguins if they're going to keep getting spooked. These poor penguins. So for a penguin, you know, you're 33 centimeters tall, you're terrified, it's a lowish tide, so you've got a really long beach to walk across and hoping that nothing will try to eat you because you're so exposed. In the water, you're blue and you blend in beautifully with the ocean. And on land, there's loads of places to hide, in the grass, in burrows, under anything basically. But this beach is really exposed and terrifying. So anything that flies, the penguin's not going to go look up and go, oh no, that's a lapwing, or that's a seagull, and go, no, it's fine. I'm going to just keep going. They're going to go, nope, it flies. I am out of here. Just run away and really try again in a minute, because it's just much safer to be terrified of everything. And that is how these penguins do so well for themselves as they cross the beach. I think we're going to have a good number of penguins coming home tonight as well. I really hope it won't be too long until we start to see chicks on the stream. Hopefully, we'll see. Fingers crossed, everything crossed. As well, I think we should talk a little bit about our burrow, the live burrow cam. I don't know if we spoke about it much on the stream yet, because I wasn't able to watch it on Saturday, but we had a penguin lay an egg within a couple of days of the box being placed there. And so we're already really surprised, because that's unusual. Usually, if a penguin's about to lay an egg, she's got a home, right? So she's not just going to lay in this brand new box. And then she didn't sit on the egg, and then she left the egg. So what our research team has told us is they think it's possibly a younger penguin who isn't as experienced, so she wasn't fully sure. Oh, wallaby. Wasn't fully sure what she was supposed to be doing. Oh, what a baby wallaby! Oh, gorgeous. Oh, I'm so easily distracted. And she wasn't fully sure what she was doing, or maybe she wasn't ready yet, or maybe she didn't have enough food herself, so she had to just lay the egg so she can go get some food. We're not really sure, but that egg wasn't sat on at all, so there was nothing. There was no pulse. There was nothing good, nothing healthy in there to have been left. It's just an egg that's gonna rot and probably get taken away. I saw, when you rewind it, you could see a water rat had a bit of a look at it, but it looks like it might still be in there, so don't fully know what's happened, but that is just a part of nature. Sometimes that will happen. I know, I think Heather's told the story on here before where a penguin dropped an egg in the middle of the highway, and she was just like, what is happening here? And it's just a part of penguin life, really. And here we go, they're coming on the highway for us now. Now, tonight as well, hopefully we'll see bandicoots because it's a nice night.
Thanks, Kerry.
Ooh, did we get a number for that big group?
That huge group was 340.
340. Okay, well, that's already a really nice start, and we've got more coming around this corner. Did we have any more questions while we're on it, T?
In relation to threats, Kate Rose wants to know, how do young penguins learn what's a threat, what's harmless?
Oh, that is a really great question. Penguins don't get any sort of help from their parents. Once they fledge at that 8 to 12 weeks old, they are totally independent penguins who have to figure out life for themselves. They take a bit of a gap here to learn how to do all their penguin things properly. So I am almost certain that it is all instinct. So anything big, anything flying is just instinctively terrifying to the penguin. They haven't been taught anything through that. Would you agree with that? It's just their pure instincts.
Yep.
Look at them, and we've got another. On my way to work this morning, it is definitely not morning, I had a wallaby cross the road in front of me, and then she stopped right in the middle, looked at me going, yeah, you're not going anywhere while I'm here, and then a little joey popped out its head and had a look at me before they hopped on through, and it was just precious.
Very cute.
Yeah, it's good. This is a good time of year because we've got baby penguins, we've got some baby geese still around, well, lots of baby geese still around, let's be honest, and we've got lots of joeys, and it's just babies everywhere as we hit spring, and it's beautiful. And now here. Again, this wallaby is no threat. Generally, if the wallabies move nice and slowly, the penguins will just move out of the way. It's not too scary. A few of them are a little spooked, but you hop and that's way more scary. And you set off the swamp hens, which are also way more scary. These poor penguins are not having a good night. Not a good start to the night at all. All of these harmless creatures are really not giving the penguins a good time, are they? Look at him. These swamp hens need to go home. Go away. And swamp hens are getting ready to breed now as well, which means we'll have like little tiny little black fluffy things running around the parade soon as well, which is always a whole lot of fun. I really don't know why they're still here. It's later than I've ever seen them hang around, but that's all right. You do you, swamp hens. Here we go. All right. Oh, they're just so cute. Oh, here we go. That's what I was waiting for. I'm like, surely we're due for a big group any second now. And look at him come through. Now, I know we don't like to say that they have personalities, but if you could say that this first one didn't have a different personality to the rest of them, no, that's definitely... It's not a personality, they're just at the different ends of the scale of their behaviours, but that one was definitely standing out with him. He's like, I'm out of here, but I'm also a little bit unsure, so I'm going to be nice and low to the ground because, life is scary and those swamp hens have just really put me on edge tonight. There's a lot of penguin poo today. That's one of the things I want to talk about. Our research team has been on an online conference throughout this week with the Third World Seabird Conference. And for us, the research team for Phillip Island Nature Parks, they had participated or presented 14 different talks throughout this week of conferences, which is awesome. And I was having a look at the titles through them, and a couple stood out to me because we had spoken about them a little bit on the streams before. One of them was The Penguins Respond to Odours Linked to Food, Not to Nest. Now, for anyone who plays along at home fairly regularly, you might remember us discussing that I was sure that penguins were able to smell a bit of fish farts to find their food source. And it wasn't totally the most accurate way to say it, but it was close enough that they can... that krill will let off dimethyl sulfate, and a lot of birds with the similar nose structure as penguins can smell that, which are let off as the krill feed. So we're calling it fart because that's easy. But at the same time, penguins do not find their nests through smell. So I found myself very confused trying to remember if I'm making things up, because they can smell for food, but they can't smell for their nests. And turns out For once, I was right. They are both. I haven't read the paper or know much more about it, but yeah, they have a great sense of smell to find their food, but not a great sense of smell, or they don't use their smell to find their nest, which is really interesting behaviour. Because generally...
So they don't use their sense of smell to find their nest.
Yeah, they don't use their sense of smell. I shouldn't say they don't have a sense of smell for their nest. They just don't use it.
Yeah.
They use it more
makes
from
no
their...
difference.
Yeah, makes no difference, which is really cool that they have this, that they have the sense of smell, but they just don't.
Yep.
So I wonder if just everything penguin related smells the same or not.
On land, I reckon it would.
Yeah, maybe it all smells the same and that's why. Don't know. I have to look further into it. And another one is obviously about poo, so I had to mention that because we all love poo here, was just a bit of a talk about studying the seabird diet using DNA. So we know a lot about penguins and their diet based on a lot of old data where they looked at penguin poo and looked at the hard bits of their shell, the hard bits of fish bones, so the otoliths, so the little ears from the fish, to see that penguins really like pilchards and anchovies, and we saw their beaks from squid to see that they like squid. But that doesn't really give us, that gives us a decent amount of information, sure, but not everything. So now we're able to use DNA, which I'm sure Megan has spoken about a bit because she's had the pleasure of collecting lots of poo samples, and that's what I was doing with Paula a little bit last week, was looking through penguin poo and trying to find the good poo samples versus the not so good poo samples that were covered in dirt or too old and stuff like that. And that is because they can check the DNA. The more fresh the poo, the better the DNA they can get, and they can learn a lot more about what the penguins are eating based on the DNA than they can based on the bones, which is really cool. It's always nice to actually watch science improve in front of your eyes and see how these different techniques come through. It's just absolutely incredible. All right, T, do we have more questions while I argue with my camera?
One question from Benny. Can penguins catch a cold or get a respiratory infection?
Ooh, you really are going for the hard questions tonight, T. I don't know.
Blame me. It's all the
you.
Water Watchers.
I blame you. I have no idea. I have never heard a penguin cough or sneeze. Have you heard a penguin cough or sneeze? I can't immediately think.
I've heard them once or twice, but not overly.
Alright. So, I love myself an educated guess, because I generally can be like, yep, I know enough to make a guess, as long as everyone knows I'm guessing and I'm not really knowing fully well what's happening. I'd imagine if a penguin is having some respiratory issues, since they spend 80% of their life in the ocean, a respiratory issue would mean they're probably not able to hold their breath as long, which means they're probably going to struggle getting enough food. So if they were getting a respiratory issue commonly, they probably wouldn't survive very well with their fishing. So I'm going to guess it's not common, and if it did happen, it probably would be pretty threatening to them. Do you have any different opinions on that? No, T's like...
No, you've nailed it.
Yeah, if you're going to ask me the hard ones, I'm going to throw them back at you.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to play today.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. But
one comment that one of our Water Watchers has got, it's not really a question or anything.
Okay.
G&D was saying that our little penguins have, instead of just having personalities, they've got penguinalities.
Oh, penguinalities, I love it. Maybe they'll approve of that and we'll say, no, of course they don't have personalities because they're animals, they're not people, they have penguinalities.
Exactly.
They'll have to approve that. We'll write a paper on it, G&D, you'll obviously get a reference and we'll all be filthy rich. That's it, we're done. Done for today, we'll turn off the live stream, that's it, we're good. Yep. No, and one thing, Megan is doing her biologgers again, the little penguin backpacks on penguins who are breeding to see where they're foraging through the breeding season and how it differs over the different stages. And I've got to spend a little bit of time with her doing that. And I will never call a penguin fat again because they are balls of muscle. And I did already know that, but until you had to hold a penguin in a certain position safely so we could attach these little backpacks, you'll never know how strong and muscly they are. And I must say my fingers and thumbs were not prepared for that strength. Megan said Andrea told her she should do some finger push-ups, and I'm going to say, yeah, probably a really good idea, because they are so strong for a bird that only weighs a kilo. And like, I knew that because I've watched them do some really incredible things, but until you've only got your hands to hold them still, you don't really fully get how strong they are.
Well, I'm sure you've been bruised by them just like I have with their flippers.
When they're smacking you. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, I thought more penguins coming on the highway. I can see them in the background, but they're not playing ball. That's all right. But yeah, no, I've definitely been bruised. I managed to not get bitten during that session, which was nice, but I did get pooed on, and we know we all love poo. I thought it was a good poo sample, but Megan's like, it's actually not that great. So I'm still not very good with my identifying a good penguin poo versus bad penguin poo, but hey, I'm learning, whatever. But yes, they are stronger, but usually when I've worked with them in the past, you grab them and you're not holding them for too long, because we want to do everything as quick as possible. That way they're not too sort of out of their natural way of things. We had to hold on to them a little bit longer to attach these biologgers, still under a certain time limit, to make sure that we're not upsetting them too much or interrupting their life too much. Really important part of the ethics there. But yeah, it was just very different. Ooh, we've got a bit of a, what are you guys doing? The camera's like, I'm going to blur it out because it's naughty. Is it? We've just got a little group of penguins just hanging out. They probably just live here, to be honest. They're probably just having a bit of a chat, doing what's up. This is where Romeo was, so I wonder if one of these penguins is Romeo, and if Romeo finally got to have his family with his wife at some point. Don't know. It's very hard to keep track of the penguins just based on where they live, isn't it?
Yep.
Alright, do we have more questions? And I'm aware, I'm paying attention to the time for once, so we're probably going to have to start thinking about stop talking at some point.
One of the easier questions.
Ooh,
it has
really?
been asked many times, but I'm sure we've got some new viewers watching tonight. What's the biggest number of penguins we've ever had?
The biggest number of penguins we ever had, and this is one of my favourite questions because
Me
the
too.
biggest number we ever had was on the year that T and I both first started.
It was indeedy.
I don't remember what year it was, 2017?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it was, I don't remember the exact number, but it was about 4,300, and it was just...
And 65.
And 4,365. T's got a better memory than me. She knows the exact number. That's brilliant. Neither of us were counting because we were way too new for that complex counting of penguins,
But we
thankfully.
were working that night.
But we were working that night, and I don't know about you, but I remember going through that and going, oh, this is awesome, look how many penguins there are, and everyone else around us is like, this is not normal. This is like a lot of penguins, and we're like, this is awesome, there's so many penguins.
Like, picture a packed freeway, but it's full of penguins, and that's what you'd have on the Penguin Highway.
Basically, you'd have this whole beach, and you'd have a line from where these penguins are on these rocks all the way to the water, just like a solid line of penguins all in their rafts that are joined into one giant thing. Just like, it was literally the parade of penguins. There's no better way to describe it. It was just a parade of penguins, and it was brilliant. And I know for me, I was like, so we say there's about 10% of the colony live around the parade. So the colony is about 32,000. 10% of it would be about 3,500. So how are we getting 4,000 penguins, over 4,000 penguins come here? Oh, another wallaby. Probably same wallaby, actually. There's a cheeky wallaby that does this on the regular. And the reason is this little pathway that goes up the hill here. Is this pathway leads to a different part of the colony. So a lot of penguins use this pathway. They go up the hill and then they cross the road and then they keep going, thanks T, to a different area. So although yes, we have that 10% immediately around us, most of these penguins going up the hill don't live immediately around us because they could go up to 2 kilometers home. So that is how we're able to have such huge numbers come without having quite that many living near us, which is just incredible. That they can do that they can go 2 kilometers in the first place is insane. And we've got this mother's group of shell gritters heading towards. So the shell gritters are our female penguins who are ready to lay an egg any day now, any time in the next couple of days, up to 5 days. And she has given the calcium from her own body to create that hard shell for the egg. And because of that, she's become a little bit deficit in calcium herself. So she is having a good look at the ground every couple of steps, trying to find a good bit of shell grit. And shell grit is sort of just crushed up shell, literally just crushed up pieces of shell. You can get it from pet shops to give to your chooks and birds because it's really important for them to have good calcium for healthy eggs. And this is exactly what she's doing here. So this is good mama penguin getting ready to lay some eggs, even though the camera does not want us to look at her. And she won't be out all night. She'll probably just go out. She might spend a couple of hours out even, and then maybe not. She might just go straight back in. And she might do this every night until she lays an egg. And when she lays an egg, often, or fairly often, you'll find a little pile of vomit in front of her home, filled with the shell pieces, because she no longer needs that because she's laid her egg and she's all good to go now. So we can learn a lot just by watching the penguins and their behaviours. But basically, male and female penguins look so similar, unless you're really well practiced. You can't tell too easily visually the difference, unless you watch for behaviour like this. Because the difference in them looking at them is their beak. So the males have a really thick beak and it tends to have a bit of a hook on the end, and the female's beak is much more slender and it tends to not have that defined hook. And so when you're up close, if you see a very obvious, like a couple of penguins near each other and you see a really thick one and a really thin one, it's really easy to tell which is which. But if you see just one penguin, unless you've been looking at penguin beaks for way too long, like some of us have, you just don't know. But yeah. Alright, do we have more questions, T, as I've lost my train of thought?
We've got a few comments about what's going to happen with Penguin TV after the lockdowns finish.
Alright, so at this point, the plans for Penguin TV is it was always going to be just during the lockdown period. We don't have any more information for you right now about exactly when it's going to end or exactly when it's not or anything like that. But as soon as that happens, that'll be posted on our Facebook page and Instagram as well, I'm sure, to let everyone know what is going to be happening with that. Unfortunately, we don't have the answers. But hopefully we'll get to see some chicks before that happens. I don't know, we'll see how we go. What are you doing? Actually, what I might do is I might go have a look for chicks in a minute, because
I think so.
I think we should have a look for chicks. Have you seen any chicks? Do you know any secrets, T?
I haven't seen any chicks in the last few days, but I haven't been there either.
Yeah, the problem is it is getting quite overgrown in a lot of this area, which is great in terms of natural habitat and not so great in terms for hunting for chickadees. Alright, so what I'm looking for is a big fluffy brown blob. I want to find a brown blob, or a bandicoot. Bandicoot's a different kind of brown blob. Okay, I've got lots of penguins hanging out near their burrows. You can see we've done a bit of weeding. I see a question fairly often about how do we maintain this area? And for the most part, we don't do any maintenance, not on the grass. The geese and the wallabies do enough lawn mowing for us. We don't need to do any of that. And we don't want to anyway, but we will take care of the weeds when they're becoming an issue as well. So some of these really bare patches is just where we've done a little bit of weeding. But one thing we will do is we'll maintain the penguin highway, so where that highway camera is, because we use that for our emergency beach access, so we need to make sure that doesn't get overgrown. Bonus, it helps with penguin viewing, but it is as well for us and our emergency access too. Alright, no chicks on this side. We're really going for a long shot looking for chicks, let's be honest, because it is still early to start seeing them come out. Hearing them, the fact that we're starting to hear them at night is a really good sign, but seeing them is a whole different thing. You just shadow. Let's have a look. Oh, I see movement in this little hole. So it's a burrow.
It is a burrow there.
I don't know why I keep testing the zoom on this going, yeah, let's see. No, it doesn't do that. It doesn't play nice with me. Okay, and I don't know how far around. 1 minute. Uh-oh. I haven't worked with T on here before. Is she really bossy timekeeper who's not going to let me do my Jordan 5 minutes, or is she going to let me ramble on all night long?
I've already given you your Jordan 5 minutes without you even
Oh my
thinking
gosh,
about
we
it.
have. Okay. All right. Okay. So, how much longer can I talk for? I can talk all night, but I can't because I am going to go play with bandicoots after this. We're doing our... we do very regular checks in different spots of bandicoots to check on the overall health of the population and the numbers. And I don't want to be late because I would like to go hang out with some bandicoots tonight. So I can't talk all night, but I do want to talk a little bit more about things we can do, especially as we're coming into summer when we're getting out and enjoying the beautiful weather that's starting to come around. Is maybe you can do some things to help out your local wildlife, our wildlife as well, depending on where you live. Is just what I like to do, and I've inadvertently taught my son to pick up disgusting things while we're at the park because he sees me pick up rubbish and he goes to do it too, and I'm like, oh, but I don't put my hands in my mouth. Is try to pick up some rubbish so you can take 3 for the sea. So you go for a walk along the beach, walk to your park, grab 3 bits of rubbish, take a whole bag with you, collect the whole ocean's worth of rubbish if you're really keen. And that's just one really easy thing anyone can do to help look after our environments. And it's so easy just to make sure that your rubbish, one, makes it to the bin, 2, just grabbing other rubbish when you can. Obviously being careful in a time like this with what you're touching. If you've got gloves, use them. And just, being really careful with that sort of stuff as well if you're picking up random things. I know we have volunteers who do monthly beach cleans on a local beach, and they're always wearing their gloves as well because the safety of you is more important than anything else. I try to keep some gloves in my pocket when I'm going out for the same sort of purpose, which is why I'm like, no child, do not pick it up yourself. But it's always nice to be able to go, okay, I have done absolutely nothing today. I've been a potato because I've been stuck home all day, but I picked up some rubbish, so therefore I have achieved something. It's always a nice little feeling. Now, I think I'm going to go to the highway and we're going to look at some penguin butts because I love penguin butts. I might say goodbye as some penguins, and as quite a large group of penguins waddles away from us, and one of them waddles towards us as she gets ready to eat some little bits of shell. So, T, do you partake in our huck off?
I do indeed.
Oh, beautiful. I love me a goodbye in penguin language. So I want to say thank you all so much for joining us again tonight. We will be back on Wednesday for another Penguin Live TV. Thank you very much, and we will see you then. Come on in, T. Have you got anything else you want to add?
Only other thing I'd like to add is if you can't come down and visit us in person on the weekends or when we do open 7 days a week, make sure you check out the online store. There is constantly new products getting uploaded onto that store as well.
Ooh, that's exciting. I always forget about the store, but yeah, very good point. We've got lots of really cool stuff. I know I'm always there going, do I really need to buy more penguin related things? Probably not.
Do.
Will I do it anyway? Yes, I will.
You do.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We are going to say goodbye.